Well, it's Thursday, and you all know what that means. As you know, as always, we have TNA. We are now building up the road to Bound for Glory. A lot of things will be taking place. We have a number one contendership for the X Division title. We even have a very interesting mix between TNA talent and NXT talent, and various other cool matches as well. But also, as I said before, we are on the road to Battle for Glory, and battle lines are now being drawn. So we're going to see what happens from there on. And then, of course, we move on with Ring of Honor, featuring, of course, the Ring of Honor Women's World Television title defended. I think this will be Red Velvet's first defense against Diamante. And then, of course, we have a proving ground match for the ROH World title and plenty other matches as well. And then we cap up our episode with some news updates to give you guys updates what's been happening in the world of pro wrestling, such as what events the promotions are thrown out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of pro wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Leaded Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to the Leaded Wrestle Zone. All things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK. Anywhere in the world pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos. We talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, I can put it either on the next episode or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do timing news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of pro wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, do the United Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us or click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, all introductions set aside, I believe it's time to hit the highway. So, let's begin with TNA. Okay, TNA. We open up with the interesting combination of talent from not only from TNA, but also from NXT. Rosemary teams up with her demonic sister Wendy Chu, along with the Burika badass Tasha Steelz. They face against, of course, Masha Slamovich, Soruka, and Jordan Grace. Now, this match came up on the heels after what happened last week when Jordan Grace put out a open challenge against someone from NXT, and that turned out to be Soruka, and it was brutally interrupted by Rosemary and Wendy Chu, and then Tasha Steelz joining the frame, and presto, this is where we go. However, the match was pretty good, but of course, there was one thing that we do know. Recently, not too long ago, Jordan Grace was wondering when will Masha Slamovich make her play for the Knockouts World title, which of course seems like that's what's the case, because it seems that certain discussions between them were not going according to plan. Like, they tried to pass their past issues, but it seems that's not the case. But it was Jordan Grace who picked up the win on the Juggernaut, applying the Juggernaut driver on Tasha, and just like that. But however, the drama between both Masha and Jordan doesn't end there, but we will get to that in a bit. Now, we did see a bit of an interview with Gia Miller. She wanted to know about Josh Alexander's alliance with a sinner in Saint, better known as, of course, Tracy Williams and Judas Ikra. Now, however, of course, Josh Alexander, as you know, he's been feeling like they appreciate guys like, Eric Young, who set up the footprint in TNA for a long time. And then he saw, Steve Macklin, who was the shortest, disgraceful TNA world champion, that sort of thing. But however, he feels that he is more concerned about the future. So he's concerned about the guys like Ikra and Travis, who are the future. And now he's forming his own group known as the Northern Armory. So it's like a Canadian reference, if you guys know what I mean, because all three of those men, including Eric Young, are also Canadians. So that sort of is why the reason it's happening. But we'll see where they go from there. Now, Nick Bennett comes out to do a promo as for whatever reason. And of course, Joe Hendry, they talk about, their upcoming match at Bound for Glory, as they're going to be the main event at Bound for Glory for the TNA World Title. But however, they were interrupted by the First Class, who are claiming themselves to be the main event. But however, of course, Santino Marella laid out the law, saying that there's going to be a tag match with Nick Bennett and Joe Hendry to take on, he called them Fish Class. It's First Class, but he called them in his Italian accent, Fish Class. I thought it was funny. I couldn't help myself. But yeah. Anyway, our next match, we have Josh Alexander taking on Eric Young. Now, we did see, of course, Ikra and Williams outside the ring, but of course, Josh told him to go to the back. So things seemed like it was going well, but unfortunately, they did came back later to get involved in interfering. Of course, Ikra provided with the distraction while Williams did the initial assault on Eric Young, allowing for, of course, Josh Alexander to pick up the win, and then the beatdown happened. But however, Steve Macklin was nowhere to be found. And of course, Renroll thinks that, it's every man for themselves. Nope. Macklin, on the other hand, was handcuffed in the back and attacked. So basically, this is why Alexander sent them to the back to deal with that. So they figured that this was a coordinated attack by, of course, the Northern Armory to take out Steve Macklin while Young is in the front. So that was a pretty good one. Now, I did mention what happened in our first match area. Things between Jordan Gray are started to, escalate just a little bit. Now, if you guys remember, this is not the first time that Masha Slamovich and Jordan Grace has ever clashed. How it was like when she first appeared a couple years ago, and now it seems old patterns are back as it was back then. However, we will see that. Now, Mike Santana, as you know, decided to put out a promo how he insulted, of course, last week the system for what they've been putting him through. And of course, Moose comes out, then he brings out a security. But of course, it was another attack coming from, of course, the system. They showed up, and then the ABC came out to help, and then Moose's security. But everybody got their asses handed. But however, Santino made the match between the ABC and the Hardys. Reasons behind that is because, of course, the end game is the TNA World Tag Team titles. Now, we did see that match going on. I mean, it was a pretty good match. But however, Myers and Edwards were not having it. They feel like, we're not challenging these dipwads for nothing. But Santino decided, you know what? Since you guys decided to interfere, I'm going to make you a big favor. So he decided that on Bound for Glory is going to be a three-way match for the TNA World Tag Team titles in a Full Metal Mayhem match. Which I think this was the last thing, of course, those idiots, Myers and Edwards, expected. Well, you decided to cross the line to get involved in a match that you had no business in, but that's what happened. Well, that's on you. Now, our next match is a #1 contendership for the X Division title. We have Laredo Kid, the more annoying Jason Hotch, and of course, Leon Slater. But of course, Mike Bailey was right there watching. So basically, that what was going on right there. So the real question is who was going to walk out. But it was, excuse me, it was Leon Slater with, of course, the um, the Swanton 450 that sealed the deal on Jason Hodge and becoming the #1 contender for the X Division title. So it's a pretty sweet deal. However, many of you ask, what is a Swanton Bomb 450? Simple. You do a maneuver, kind of like when you jump out, when you make the jump, and try to do the momentum as a Swanton, but except you're doing a 450. If you ever seen it, check it out. Now, of course, Jordan Grace confronts Masha in the ring, and of course, it ignited. So, looks like now Masha's making her play for the TNA Knockouts World Title. So, this is something. Now, remember, Jordan Grace had defended that belt proud and of course, and with dignity and honor and prestige. And now this is going to be a good challenge for her. So, we'll see what happens. Our main event is First Class, consisting of Casey Navarro and AJ Francis taking on Joe Hendry and Nick Meredith. Now, of course, there's going to be ego happening because we've seen these type of matches where, of course, guys will team up, those who will be opponents on a big event. And sooner or later, it was going to happen. So it was, of course, Nick Meredith who started up the whole thing, ended with the famous Sir on Navarro to pick up the match. So we will see what happens when we get to Bound for Glory. So, needless to say, we will pay attention to that. But for now, we are done with with TNA. Let's move on with Ring of Honor. Okay, Ring of Honor. Now, as you know, Athena has been the longest reigning ROH Women's World Champion. However, of course, Lexington being Athena's bestie, Billy Starks was not in a happy mood due to the fact that, of course, Athena has been, how do I say, neglecting her, treating her like she, did all this and that. But however, things become a little crazier. Athena, you're going paranoid because she found out later after last week that scary lady Abaddon was right behind her without her knowing. So she put herself in a chain with the handcuff to, of course, Lexi to protect her if something has happened. If, of course, Abaddon abductors. Well, of course, I don't blame her for feeling that way, but that's what she gets for saying that she's not afraid of anybody. But now it looks like the fear is taking a toll on her. But however, of course, Billy Starks was not having it. She was getting frustrated. But of course, later here comes Lady Frost, who is demanding an eliminate a proving ground match. Of course, Athena was not going to happen, but sooner or later it will. Now on to the first match. As you know, Gabe Kidd made his recent appearance. Now, not too long ago, he was talking about MJF saying that nobody in Japan knows him. Him having a tattoo of AEW on his calf was stupid. He said he's going to kill him and all that. But this time he put the New Japan Strong title against Anthony Henry. Now, Anthony Henry, I can say this was one of those matches I was hoping to see because Anthony Henry is one of those wrestlers that can show that his inner toughness, that he doesn't back down from a fight no matter the circumstances. But it was just too much with, of course, with Gabe Kidd being, the loudmouth with the mic, claiming that he is the shit. As always, he thinks that's how it works, but he was able to try to cross the line on certain occasions. But thank God for Beef for having his cousin's back. But however, Gabe was not having it, so he knocked him out. But however, Gabe Kidd finished off Henry with, of course, the pile driver, and just like that. But it's only a matter of time until he decides to find someone either on the top tier in both Ring of Honor and AEW. That is something we definitely would see. Now, as you know, it's not the first time Brandon Cutler made his way towards, of course, in Ring of Honor. He's talking smack as always, but he calls out for any Ring of Honor champions, past or present. Well, he could have just kept his mouth shut because he ended up facing against Katsuyori Shibata. Now, of course, Shibata, we all know he was going to kill him one way or the other because it was no secret. But I hope he learned his lesson not to run his mouth until he got PK'd by Shibata. But that's pretty much it. Now, we did see a video promo from Brian Cage. Now, many of you may know this or not. At Wrestle Dream this coming weekend, he will face against CML's very own Atlantis Jr. Now, Brian Cage, as you know, has been named as the #1 contender to challenge him. But however, his issue towards Atlantis Jr., he respects that he's a wrestler. But what he does not respect is the fact that he's an outsider, someone who is not part of the Ring of Honor AEW brand. That he stole the belt, according to him. And now he's trying to reclaim it. But we will see. Now, don't forget, Atlantis Jr. was trained by the best, especially his own dad, Atlantis. But we'll see where that goes. Now, of course, Billy Starkz, as you know, has been in a bad mood since Athena's been treating her poorly recently since the loss of the ROH World Women's Television title. But she had to deal with Elizabeth, and this one ended with her defeating her with the Swanton Bomb. But it's only a matter of time until Billy Starkz snaps at Athena. That could help out. Now, we have Shane Taylor Promotions, Lee Moriarty and Shane Taylor taking on the Infantry. Now, it's not the first time these two teams have crossed each other. Now, of course, Shane Taylor respects Bravo and Dean for serving our military. But of course, Shane Taylor, being an army brat himself, he feels that they are not living up to that reputation. But that kind of sets it in. But we did see some good coordination from Shane Taylor Promotions. But Infantry, their game plan kind of was falling apart until, of course, a bridge was upon by Moriarty to Bravo. And just like that, things are falling downhill for the Infantry. Now, Dark Order, as you know, decided to put out a video promo talk about now that they're making their way to the Trios titles. There is one team in particular that are not too keen on hearing that, and that is, of course, the Iron Savages. However, they haven't forgotten that the loss they had last time. Well, we'll see what happens between those two teams. Our next match is the ROH Women's World Television title, Diamante versus Red Velvet. Now, this match was a brutal match. Diamante was really putting everything on this match to dismantle Red Velvet. But however, Diamante lost her cool. Basically, she lost her composure. She completely got disqualified by using the title. All she had to do, once she already dismantled Red Velvet outside the ring, she could have just brought her into the ring and pinned her or submitted her. But no, she decided to take it even further down by attacking her. And this resulted her of disqualifying herself. But the real question, it does remain, what's going to happen next? My prediction is this. Red Velvet is not going to take this too kindly. She's not going to let this one go. Knowing the fact that, of course, and I think the problem, Red Velvet is going to push a button on Diamante, telling her she's too much a coward to even beat her the right way. So, because Diamante talks about certain things, but we'll see where that goes from there. Now, our next match, we have Lance Archer versus Sam Beal. Well, I can tell you this match ended with Lance Archer applying the blackout, and then, of course, everybody dies. Now, we did see a bit of an old match coming from back in the day with Ring of Honor, where we had Kenta versus Bryan Danielson. I don't need to go over it because I don't talk that much about history unless I put it on the YouTube channel. On the podcast, anyway. Now, of course, the Infantry did a little video promo talking about how frustrating it was. But, of course, Shane Taylor Promotion had it with them and all that. So he tried to put them to get their heads out of their asses and wake up. That sort of thing. But, of course, the real question is he trying to have them join him? I don't know. That's something we don't know. There are those who are talking maybe that seems the possibility. But we will see. Now, our main event is a proving ground match for the ROH World title. All It's Josh Woods versus Mark Briscoe. Now, Woods, all he needs to do is hold on to 10 minutes in this match. He doesn't initially need to defeat him in order to, of course, get a shot of the ROH World Title. But yeah, but of course, much of this match, Josh Woods was dismantling Mark Briscoe's right arm, and even that sleazing little weasel Sterling gets involved. I just hope someone knocks him out. But however, while of course Briscoe's arm was being dismantled, he had to sacrifice it in order to put away Josh Woods with the Froggy Bow. But the real question is, will this be a problem in his title match against Jericho? That's something that is a possibility. But we will see what happens at Wrestle Dream. But for now, we'll leave things as it is with Ring of Honor and end it with our last and final thing, news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news update. So let's begin with upcoming events with the promotions. As always, we start with GCW. We only have 2 of that. As you know, we have this coming Sunday Fight Club in Atlantic City. We do have a 4-way match between Alec Price, Broski Jimmy, Marcus Mathers, and a guy I don't know, Jody Ora. I don't know who he is, but yes. And then, of course, as you know, we have the San Diego show here in on Halloween for Monster Bash. They announced Brooke Havoc versus Vipress. Now on to a very interesting thing. Sendai Girls has announced that Stardom very own former world champion Suri will be there, and she'll be teaming up with Dash Shizako to take on Mika Iwata and Miyuki Takase. And then, of course, we have the House of Glory Salvation on the 18th of October. Idris Jackson versus La Sombra. So, yes. Then, of course, for the MLW Lucha Apocalipto taking place on November 4th, we have a 3-way match for the MLW World Middleweight Championship. We have the champion Mystico defending the belt against Titan and Arveno. And then finally, as you know, the Jericho Cruise is back, and they just announced a match for the tournament for the Jericho Cruise Ocean Championship Tournament. Michael Oku is the current champion on that, and there's going to be a 4-man tournament on this one. On one bracket, we have Mo Jabari. I don't know if I've ever seen him. He faced off against Rio One, better known as Enzo Amore. And then we have Elijah taking on Tommy Billington. So whoever wins between Mo Jabari and Rio One will proceed into the finals, and whoever wins between Elijah and Tommy Billington will proceed. And now whoever walks out between either one will face Michael Oku. So that's pretty much what goes on in that. Now in our for developments, first things first, we want to give congratulations to AAA's very own Lady Shani and her husband. Many of you may have known that she took some time off when she found out she was pregnant, and on October 7th, she gave birth to their very first child, a healthy baby boy. So congratulations. In Japan, by the time this video is out, it should be already Saturday over there, and he's still here. Gleet's very own Yu Izuka's birthday, so congratulations. Fightful Select reports that Li Ying Lee, formerly known as Xia Li from WWE, has officially signed with TNA. So that is a pretty good thing here. And finally, Zachary Wentz, many of you may know, this past weekend, he ended up going, last couple of days, he ended up going to Japan to do a tour with Gleet, did 2 shows. However, he's been very stressing out because of what's been going on with the whole Hurricane Milton. Many of you may know why he probably is freaking out, why he's having panic attacks. Well, as you all know, in his personal life, he is engaged to be married with Gigi Dolan. And, of course, leaving her home, it kind of put him in that, man, I should have been there, that type of thing. I understand what he's going through on that level. This is what he posted on his X. Um, My fiance is in Orlando braving out the storm. While I'm in the other side of the world, the amount of stress and anxiety I have right now, I wish I could be there to keep her and my pets safe. And then he got back and kind of spoken more. Luckily, we did not get a bad as we should have. Sorry for the anxiety, but being halfway around the world, all my mind did think all of all that bad. Thank you for the prayers and positive thoughts. About to fly back to Atlanta from Japan and then Orlando. Let's hope MCO opens. I mean, I get it. I mean, as a man, you have to be there for the people you love. You know, that's practically your job, and I respect Zach for feeling that way. I mean, it is kind of messed up that he is far away and he's hearing what's been going on while he's in Japan, and I don't blame him. But hopefully things go well. Just hope his anxiety and stress just doubles down. So yeah, so I think that's pretty much it. So let's just call it a day. Okay, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, we have AEW Rampage and, of course, NXT Level Up. So we will see how it goes. Now, I haven't decided if I want to do another review before then, but for now, that's what we're going to leave it as it is. If you guys saw my last video, I did stated that I was going to do a 2 review video, which is this one, because I had a dental procedure. Well, I can tell you guys, yes, the procedure's done. It was a bit more complicated, but I'm okay. Just to let you guys know, I'm taking medications at the moment to deal with the whole tooth thingy, and everything's good. So I'm glad everything worked out. But however, I am happy that I was able to do this episode for you guys. There'll be certain things that, of course, we will talk about where I may have to take a little time off from it because of certain aspects, but we'll get to that at some point until we cross that bridge. But for now, I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So goodbye, and have a nice day. Bang.